In a vast chamber filled with shimmering lights and strange sounds, the Galactic Council met to discuss important matters. This council was made up of the most powerful alien species in the galaxy. They had traveled far and wide, gathering knowledge and technology that they believed made them the rulers of the universe. They thought they understood every species and planet, but they were about to be proven wrong. The head of the council, a tall alien with bright blue skin and glowing eyes named Zorath, looked around at his fellow leaders. "We have gathered here today to talk about the humans of Earth," he announced. "They are primitive beings, not worthy of our attention. They have no technology that can match ours." The other council members nodded in agreement, their alien features twisted in smug expressions. They believed that their advanced ships and weapons made them superior. They looked down on humans, viewing them as mere insects. But not everyone shared this view. Sarah, a young and curious member of the council, raised her hand. "But we must not forget the strange signals we have detected from Earth," she said. "Some humans have shown intelligence that we did not expect. There are stories of their ingenuity." Zorath waved her off. "Those are just stories," he replied dismissively. "We know better. We have conquered many planets and species. Why should we worry about humans?" Despite Zorath's words, Sarah felt a knot of worry in her stomach. She had been studying humans for some time and had learned of their creativity and resilience. They had built amazing machines, explored their world, and even reached for the stars. "I believe we should investigate further," Sarah insisted. Zorath's patience was running thin. "Enough! We will not waste our resources on such a foolish idea. We have more important matters to discuss, like the trade routes with the Zalthorians." As the council continued their meeting, Sarah could not shake the feeling that they were making a mistake. She decided to take matters into her own hands. Later that day, she slipped away from the council chamber and made her way to the council's communications center. She had an idea. Using her skills, Sarah tapped into the signals coming from Earth. She hoped to learn more about the humans and their capabilities. As she listened, she was surprised by what she heard. There were stories of humans working together, creating amazing technologies, and standing up against threats far greater than themselves. One story stood out. It was about a group of humans who had banded together to save their planet from a devastating disaster. They used their knowledge and teamwork to find a solution that no one thought possible. Sarah felt her heart race as she listened, realizing that humans were far more than the council believed. Back in the council chamber, Zorath and the others continued their discussions. They laughed at the thought of humans being a threat, convinced that they had nothing to worry about. But Sarah was no longer sure. She returned to the meeting, her mind racing with thoughts of what she had learned. "Zorath, I believe we must reconsider our approach," she urged, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. "Humans are not what we think. They have strengths we do not understand." Zorath shook his head. "You are wasting our time, Sarah. We will focus on what matters, our power and influence. Humans are beneath us." Sarah clenched her fists, frustration boiling inside her. She could see that the council was blind to the truth. She felt a growing fear for what might happen if they continued to underestimate humans. They were on the verge of making a terrible mistake. As the meeting ended, Sarah walked out, determined to gather more information about Earth and its people. She would not let the council's arrogance lead to disaster. The signals she had intercepted were only the beginning. Humans had the potential to change everything. Little did the council know that their dismissal of humans would soon come back to haunt them. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson that would shake its very foundations, and humans were ready to prove them all wrong. On a quiet day in a small town on Earth, Sarah sat in her cluttered workshop. It was filled with tools, wires, and gadgets she had collected over the years. She was a talented engineer, but most people in her town didn't understand her passion. They saw her as just a strange girl who liked to tinker with machines. But Sarah didn't care. She loved creating and discovering new things. That morning, while rummaging through an old storage box in her attic, Sarah stumbled upon a dusty, ancient device. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. The device was small and rectangular, covered in strange symbols and markings. Curious, Sarah took it to her workshop and began to examine it closely. As she cleaned the dust off, she noticed a faint glow coming from the device. Intrigued, she pressed a small button on the side. Suddenly, the device hummed to life, and a holographic map appeared in the air above it. The map showed stars, planets, and paths through the galaxy. Sarah gasped in amazement. This was a treasure beyond her wildest dreams. With her heart racing, Sarah started to study the map. She saw that it had connections to Earth, but there were also other paths leading to distant stars. It seemed that this device held ancient knowledge of the universe. She wondered who had created it and why it was hidden away for so long. As she continued to work with the device, Sarah realized it had more than just a map. It also contained complex data and energy patterns. With her engineering skills, she began to understand how it worked and started to modify it. Day by day, she unlocked new features, each more incredible than the last. She discovered how to harness energy from the device and began using it to power her other inventions. But as Sarah worked, she didn't notice a pair of glowing eyes watching her from a distance. A small alien spy sent by the Galactic Council had been observing her every move. The alien, named Finn, was amazed by what he saw. He had never witnessed a human creating such advanced technology. He realized that the Council's dismissal of humans was a grave mistake. Finn decided to gather more information. He quickly moved back to his ship and sent a message to the Galactic Council, warning them that humans might be more capable than they believed. But he worried that they would not take him seriously. Meanwhile, Sarah was busy making breakthroughs. She had created a small energy generator that could power her entire workshop. The device glowed brightly, filling the room with a warm light. She could hardly contain her excitement as she imagined the possibilities. What if she could share this technology with the world? It could change everything. As she continued her work, Sarah received an unexpected visitor. Her childhood friend Mark came over to check on her. He had always supported her dreams, even when others mocked her. "What have you been working on?" he asked, peering over her shoulder. Sarah hesitated, unsure if she should reveal her secret. But the spark in Mark's eyes encouraged her. "Look at this," she exclaimed, activating the holographic map. Mark's jaw dropped as he took in the view. "This is incredible! Where did you find it?" "I don't know, but I think it's ancient technology," Sarah replied, her excitement bubbling over. "If I can figure out how to use it fully, we could explore space." Mark's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. "You have to show this to someone. The world needs to see what you've created." But Sarah felt a wave of fear. What if the council found out? What if they tried to take it away from her? "I'm not sure," she said, her voice shaky. What if they don't understand? What if they want to control it? As they talked, Finn listened from the shadows, realizing that he needed to act quickly. He knew the Galactic Council would not hesitate to come after this technology. Sarah and Mark were in danger, and he couldn't let that happen. He had to warn them. Just as Finn stepped forward to reveal himself, a strange noise filled the air. Sarah and Mark turned in shock as the sound of a spaceship echoed outside. The ground shook slightly, and a bright light lit up the sky. Finn knew the Council had sent ships to investigate the mysterious signals from Earth. Sarah's heart raced as she realized they were no longer safe. The world was about to change, and she had to be ready. Little did she know that her discoveries would soon draw the attention of beings far more powerful than she ever imagined. The sky was darkening over Sarah's small town as the spaceship hovered silently above her workshop. The bright lights from the craft flickered ominously, casting shadows across the ground. Sarah and Mark stood frozen, their hearts pounding in their chests. They both knew that the noise they heard just moments before was not a natural phenomenon. It was an alien ship. "Do you think they're here for the device?" Mark whispered, fear creeping into his voice. Sarah's eyes widened as she considered the possibility. The Galactic Council had sent ships just as Finn had feared. They could sense the power of her invention, and they were not going to let it slip away. Without wasting a moment, Sarah dashed into her workshop, grabbing the device and hiding it behind a stack of tools. "We need to hide! Quick!" she urged Mark, who was still staring at the spaceship in shock. He shook himself free of his daze and followed her, both of them crouching behind a workbench. From their hiding spot, they watched as the spaceship landed with a soft thud. The ground vibrated beneath them, and Sarah could see the ramp of the ship slowly lowering. A group of alien figures stepped out, their bodies sleek and shimmering under the workshop lights. They were tall, with long limbs and bright eyes, and Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. These were not friendly visitors. "They look like the aliens from the stories," Mark muttered, his voice trembling. "What are we going to do?" Sarah thought quickly. "We have to stay quiet and observe. If they find us, we might be in serious trouble." As the aliens advanced, Sarah noticed one of them, a smaller figure, hanging back. It had a curious expression and seemed more interested in the surroundings than the other aliens. Suddenly, Sarah recognized it as Finn, the alien spy who had been watching her. A glimmer of hope sparked within her. Perhaps he could help them. The group of aliens moved deeper into the workshop, examining the gadgets scattered around. "This human technology is primitive," one of the larger aliens scoffed. "How can they compete with our advancements?" Finn, still lingering at the back, stepped forward. "They have something special," he said, his voice soft but firm. "You cannot underestimate them. They are capable of more than you know." The larger alien turned, irritation flashing across his features. "What do you mean?" "They are just humans!" Sarah felt a rush of anger at their arrogance. She wanted to shout out that they were wrong, but she held her tongue, remembering how crucial it was to remain hidden. Meanwhile, Finn continued to defend her kind. "If you take their technology without understanding it, you will regret it. They are clever and resourceful." Just then, one of the aliens pointed toward the workbench where Sarah and Mark were hiding. "What's that?" the alien asked, its voice a mix of curiosity and suspicion. Panic surged through Sarah. They were about to be discovered. In a split-second decision, Finn moved in front of the group, trying to divert their attention. "Wait! Let me show you something." "There's something better in here." The aliens hesitated, their focus shifting to Finn as he gestured toward another part of the workshop. "I can explain how they work. You'll be surprised by what they can do." As the aliens turned their backs to Sarah and Mark, they seized their chance. "Now!" Sarah hissed, and they quietly slipped out from behind the workbench, creeping toward the exit. Once outside, Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline. "We need to warn everyone!" she exclaimed. "They can't take our technology! We have to protect it!" Mark nodded, but his face was pale with fear. "What if they come after us?" "We'll figure that out," Sarah replied, determination filling her voice. "We have to get to the others first." They sprinted through the yard, hearts racing. Behind them, Finn could hear the aliens arguing. He knew he had bought Sarah and Mark some time, but he also understood that their safety was not guaranteed. He would have to act fast to protect them and reveal the truth about humanity to the Galactic Council. As Sarah and Mark reached the edge of the woods, they turned to look back. The aliens were still in the workshop debating what to do next. "We need to find allies," Sarah said, breathing heavily. "If they're going to invade, we need everyone to stand together." Mark nodded, his fear starting to turn into courage. "Let's gather everyone we can. We have to show them that humans are not to be underestimated." With a sense of purpose, Sarah and Mark set off into the night, ready to rally their friends and prepare for the battle ahead. They had uncovered a secret that could change the fate of Earth, and now they had to fight to protect it. Little did they know that the confrontation with the Galactic Council was just beginning. Sarah and Mark rushed into the dark forest, their hearts racing as they plotted their next steps. They knew they had to gather their friends quickly. The Galactic Council's aliens were searching for the device, and they could not let it fall into their hands. With each step, Sarah felt the weight of their mission grow heavier. "Where do we start?" Mark asked, glancing nervously over his shoulder. The fear of being chased by aliens still lingered in the air. "We need to find Jake and Emma first," Sarah replied. "They will understand the urgency of this situation." Jake was a local mechanic and Emma was a tech whiz. Together, they formed a close-knit group that often helped Sarah with her inventions. As they hurried through the trees, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of dread. What if the aliens found them first? What if they got the device? She had to keep pushing those thoughts aside. They needed a plan. After a few minutes of running, they reached Jake's garage. The familiar smell of oil and metal welcomed them, but the sight of Jake's surprised face filled Sarah with relief. "What are you two doing here?" "You look like you've seen a ghost," he exclaimed. "Jake, we need your help," Mark said, breathless. "Aliens are here, and they want Sarah's device." "What? Aliens?" Jake raised an eyebrow, disbelief creeping into his voice. "Are you serious?" "Yes, they are at Sarah's workshop right now," Sarah insisted, urgency lacing her words. "We need to gather everyone and figure out how to protect it." Emma stepped out from the back of the garage, holding a tablet. "What's going on?" she asked, sensing the tension. "Aliens have landed," Sarah explained quickly. "They're searching for the device, and they think humans are weak. We need to show them we're not." Emma's eyes widened. "I can help. I've been working on some security systems that could protect the workshop." But we need more people. Let's get the others, Jake said, determination replacing the initial shock in his voice. If we all work together, we can fight back. With their new plan in mind, the group split up, each taking a different route to gather their friends. Sarah felt a surge of hope. For the first time, it seemed like they had a chance to stand against the aliens. As night fell, Sarah, Mark, Jake, and Emma returned to the workshop, now accompanied by a small group of trusted friends. They gathered around the device, a mix of excitement and fear in the air. Sarah stood in front of everyone, her heart pounding. "Listen up, everyone," she called out, trying to keep her voice steady. "The aliens think we are just humans, but we can show them that we are much more than that. We have to protect this device and our home." Mark stepped forward, confidence shining in his eyes. "We've seen what they can do, but we have something they don't, our ingenuity. Let's use what we have to outsmart them." Everyone nodded, their spirits lifting. They began brainstorming ideas for defense. Emma shared her knowledge of technology and suggested they set up traps around the workshop. Jake offered to create distractions using his mechanic skills. As they worked together, Sarah felt the energy in the room shift. The fear that had once consumed her was replaced by determination. They were no longer just individuals, they were a team ready to fight for their future. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside. The aliens had returned, their voices carrying through the night air. "We must find the device," one of them shouted. "Quick! Everyone, to your positions!" Sarah ordered, her heart racing. The group quickly scattered, hiding behind machines and tools, preparing for what was to come. As the aliens entered the workshop, Sarah's pulse quickened. The larger alien that had mocked them before stepped inside, scanning the room. "This technology is ours," it declared. "Surrender now, and we will show you mercy." Mark's voice was steady as he called back, "You'll get no mercy from us." "We're not afraid of you!" The aliens looked taken aback. They had not expected such defiance from humans. Sarah seized the moment. "You may think we're weak, but we are strong together. You have underestimated us." With a wave of her hand, Emma activated the traps they had set. Suddenly, loud noises erupted around the aliens and bright lights flashed. The aliens stumbled back, confused and disoriented. "Now!" Sarah shouted. "Let's show them what humans can do." The fight had begun, and as the chaos unfolded, Sarah realized they were no longer fighting for just the device. They were fighting for their home and their future. Together, they would show the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. The chaos in the workshop grew louder as Sarah and her friends fought against the aliens. Bright lights flashed and loud noises filled the air, but their determination was stronger than any fear. The aliens had underestimated them, and now it was time to show them the true power of humanity. "Keep pushing!" Sarah shouted as she ducked behind a metal workbench. Mark was nearby, throwing a toolbox toward an alien that had stumbled too close. The toolbox hit its mark, causing the alien to crash into a stack of crates. "Nice shot!" Mark called out, adrenaline pumping through his veins. They were working together as a team, and it felt good. Just then, Finn, the alien who had been their unexpected ally, appeared at the entrance of the workshop. "Sarah! Mark!" he called out, his voice urgent. "I can help! But we need to act fast!" "Finn!" Sarah exclaimed, relief flooding her. "What can you do?" "I know how to disable their communication devices," he said quickly. "If we can cut them off from the rest of their fleet, we might have a chance to drive them away." "Let's do it!" Mark replied, his eyes shining with hope. "But how do we do it?" "Follow me." Finn led them to a small console at the back of the workshop. "We need to access the mainframe. It's connected to their ship." Sarah nodded, heart racing with the possibilities. They were not just fighting for survival anymore, they were taking the fight to the aliens. As they made their way to the console, the sounds of battle continued to rage around them. The aliens were recovering from the initial surprise, and their focus was shifting back to the humans. "Stay low!" Finn shouted as they reached the console. The trio crouched behind it, hidden from view. Sarah quickly began to work on the console, her fingers flying over the keys. "What do I need to do?" she asked. "Just download the data and override their communication protocols," Finn instructed, his voice steady. "You can do this!" Mark stood guard, his heart pounding as he kept an eye on the doorway. "Come on, Sarah! We need this to work!" The workshop was filled with shouts from the aliens. One of them shouted, "Find them! They cannot escape!" "Almost there!" Sarah said, focusing on the screen. Sweat dripped down her forehead as she concentrated. Finally, with one last click, the console beeped and a message flashed across the screen: communication disabled. "Yes!" Sarah exclaimed, a grin spreading across her face. "We did it!" But just as they celebrated, a loud crash echoed from the front of the workshop. The larger alien leader burst through, furious. "You think you can defeat us? You are fools! Not if we can help it!" Mark yelled, grabbing a nearby wrench and charging toward the alien. With renewed strength, Sarah and Finn joined him. They fought bravely, using everything they had to defend their home. As they battled, the tide began to shift. Without their communication, the aliens were struggling to regroup. Their movements became frantic, and Sarah sensed that they were losing control. "Keep pushing!" she shouted. "They're weakening." Finn nodded, darting forward to grab a small device from the alien leader's belt. "This will help us! It can disrupt their energy shields." With the new weapon in hand, Finn passed it to Sarah. "You know how to use it." Taking a deep breath, Sarah aimed the device at the alien leader. "Let's see how tough you really are." With a burst of energy, the device fired, striking the leader and sending it crashing back into a pile of crates. The aliens surrounding them paused, confusion written on their faces. "Now's our chance," Mark shouted, rallying the others. "Let's drive them out." They surged forward together, fighting with everything they had. The once confident aliens began to retreat, their resolve fading in the face of humanity's unity. As the last alien scrambled to escape, Sarah turned to her friends, her heart swelling with pride. "We did it! We fought them off!" Just then, Finn stepped forward. "You have proven yourselves strong and brave. I would like to offer you a new alliance. Your people have shown great courage today." "An alliance?" Sarah asked, her eyes widening. "Yes," Finn confirmed. "Together we can protect Earth from future threats. The Galactic Council must learn that humans are not to be taken lightly." Mark nodded enthusiastically. "We'll do it! Together we can stand against anyone." The group exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of determination and excitement. They had come together in the face of danger, and now they would unite for the future. "Let's build a new alliance," Sarah said, her voice steady. "One that will protect our home and prove to the galaxy that humans are strong." As they stood together, a new sense of hope filled the air. They had not only fought for their survival, they had forged a bond that would carry them into the future. With Finn by their side, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, proving that they truly were stronger together.